11 miles off the Texas shoreline, a Coast Guard rescue crew is about to earn their pay. While alone on the seas, loving father and avid fisherman David Wagner was thrown out of his boat when it hit a piece of driftwood. Now as the boat spins in wild circles, David bobs helplessly in the chilly, shark-infested waters nearby.
The temperature of the water was at that point where it was still pretty cold, in the low 70s. We knew we needed to get out there pretty quick.
Commander Scott is in charge of the chopper team, and even though a 41-foot Coast Guard boat is en route, he decides to deploy his own rescue swimmer.
Normally what I'd like to do is let the vessel make that rescue and not expose my rescue swimmer if I don't have to. But he'd been in the water for close to 2 hours at that time.
Knowing David is in grave danger from hypothermia, rescue swimmer Mark Vail prepares to plunge into the water. But just as he does, Mark spots the dorsal fins of several sharks prowling too close by for comfort.
I was a little worried about some sea predators at that time, but I had to get rid of that thought pretty quick.
Mark swims rapidly over to David. He's surprised to find him not wearing a life jacket, but staying afloat with an inflated raincoat. Even more bizarre, the delirious man is stripped to his underwear, and therefore uninsulated from the cold ocean waters.
He was obviously very tired, very hypothermic, and he didn't have much time left.
And we decided at that point that the 41-footer was close enough that we would put him back up onto the boat.
With David's body temperature plunging, Mark drags him away from the lurking sharks toward the utility boat. David's limp body is hoisted on board, where the crew quickly checks his vital signs.
I don't know exactly what his body temperature was, but I do know that he had already gone through several stages of hypothermia.
David must be taken to a hospital now, but the utility boat can't make it to shore fast enough. So Commander Scott decides to hoist the victim up in the chopper and airlift him back to land.
Going up. It's not on deck yet. Okay, passengers up. Passengers away.
It's a tension-filled trip to the hospital in Galveston, but once David is in the care of emergency room physicians, he's on the road to a complete recovery. Today, David Wagner can finally thank the men who saved him face to face. Even a month later, David vividly recalls what happened when his boat got rocked by a piece of driftwood.
I went over the gunnel before I had time to react at all. I was in the water.
Desperate not to be shark bait, David tried to stop the boat by removing his clothes and using them to foul the propeller.
It almost worked. When I threw my jeans up under there, the motor bogged down and I thought it was going to stall completely, but it spit it out and I never did find the jean shorts again.
By the time he got down to just his raincoat, David recalled an ocean survival skill his son Brad had taught him just days before.
One of the things that I remembered from my son telling me his experience in the Navy was how to make a flotation device out of ordinary articles of clothing.
David filled his raincoat with air and transformed it into an improvised life preserver. Thanks to his son's tip, he was able to stay afloat for the 2 hours until the Coast Guard arrived.
It made me feel really good to know that I told him something that helped him stay afloat and helped him survive.
As for the rescue, David couldn't have been more impressed by the Coast Guard's response.
The actual rescue was a thing of beauty to me. It was like a well-orchestrated band.
According to Commander Scott, the admiration is mutual.
He kept his head and he stayed in the game, stayed alert, and didn't give up.
And thanks to a chilly brush with death, this fisherman learned his lesson once and for all.
I will never be complacent on that body of water again.